Greetings, fellow champion parents, champions at parenting, where we will always strive to be the best that we can be, the champion parent way. We are winners unapologetically. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Mommy Talk, where we discuss topics that are real, relatable, and right on time. How to be a successful single parent during grief, crisis, and hard times will be our topic today. So come and talk to us and tell us what you think at www.mommietalk.com. When it's time, we must continue to stay uplifted. Although we have two social distancing, we have the opportunity to reach out through phone calls. There are video platforms available for us to use, and we have to make sure that we make the best out of a situation that lies in front of us. Today, we welcome another champion parent. Welcome, Miss Sylvia Hubbard. She's an independent publisher, published 4 paperback books, 10 ebooks. She's a Detroit native and author again, self-published, high suspense, urban romance novels based around Detroit settings. She's a single mom, proud single mom of 3, entrepreneur, teaches children how to follow dreams by her example. She is following and creating her own happy ending. Welcome, Miss Sylvia Hubbard.
Hi, hello.
Hey.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming.
Here. Yeah, welcome. I like that intro. I like how you say we're unapologetic at being a champion at parenting. Miss Sylvia, how
Yes.
are you today?
I am good. I am blessed. In this day and age, I'm blessed. Just anything above ground, I'm blessed.
Yeah, that's
Ooh,
good.
amen.
And your family is doing well?
Y'all, everyone is doing pretty well. Everyone's handling everything. I think, and I said it the other day on my social media post, I said we were already ready for this because we had gone through so many hard times and solitude and just financial struggles. And I mean, we were homeless for a long time. So like when this hit, me and my kids were like, okay, well, we already prepared. We were already prepared to handle this mentally, physically, and householdly already. We were like, okay, let's just buckle down. We know this is what we got to do until the wave is over with. We already had our umbrellas. We already know how to put the umbrella up, set it up, and just wait for the storm to be over. So I'm so glad God put me through those hardships in order to be ready for what's going on now.
It prepared you for the times now.
And that's a very positive way to look at it, because I'm telling you, that's the first time I've ever heard anyone put a positive spin on everything, because we're all saying how new this is to us.
Right. But you got to look at it in terms of God never gives you anything you can't handle. And we get pop quizzes all the time in our lives. And I think what makes us ready to pass those pop quizzes that life gives us, and those are like the make it or break it pop quizzes. Like if you don't pass this pop quiz, you are out of the game. And
Absolutely.
you got mouths to feed, you got a house to take care of, you got a soul to keep to stay sane. But I think in those pop quizzes that were given, we were already given the answers previously on how to pass these tests. We just had to listen and learn and see what others were doing in their pop quizzes, and then say, okay, if that ever happens to me, I know what to do. Or even going out and helping other people who are going through struggles, you learn, okay, if this ever happens to me, I know what to do. So in life, we are always given the answers to everything we have to face. It's up to us to listen and learn what comes in when there is no storm, rather than trying to learn while you're in the storm.
Preach.
I like that. Preach.
I want to say
that was right on time.
I like that you said that we are
on time.
Yes.
right. I like that you said that we are prepared and God prepares us. So that's accurate. He never puts, like you said, he doesn't put anything before us that we can't bear. And we've always been practicing
Yeah, we
for this
literally have
event.
always been practicing. We've always been prepping. We've always been preparing the kids. If things get tough, this is what you have to do. You can't contact me, you contact this person. You can't get home, you jump on the bus and say, give me a free ride. You know, you prepare your kids for, and people say, well, you're just making them paranoid. No, I'm preparing them because I can't be here all the time. I'm one parent and I can only do what I can do, but I need them to handle a problem when I'm not around. Then we do have to prepare them because they don't have the option of having a panic attack. They don't have the option of being scared because then I don't want to have to come pick you up at the police station and explain why I could not parent at the time you needed a parent. I need you to handle it while I'm not there. And then when you get there, you can cry all you want to on my shoulder.
And you have to give scenarios. There's nothing wrong with giving scenarios. They need to be able to, that life may be different than what you're experiencing right now. Things always change. So very good.
Yeah, so I'm glad that like my children and I have always been prepared. We've, you know, I've always kept my pantry a month and a half in advance. So when this pandemic hit, I was good with tissue and toilet paper. I don't know where everybody else was. But we have always been like a family that I have the pantry full. I have my sundries on point. You know, I have some money in the bank. So I'm good. I can settle for a month and a half before I'm like, okay, Lord, what we got to do? Because I've always been going through a grief, a crisis, or a hardship. Like that's all you do as a single parent. Every day you wake up, one or the other is on the list.
Yeah. Like I hear you say that you all been homeless before.
So in 2013, I was laid off from work. I had no income coming in other than my book sales. And at the time we had a fire that burned the whole house down in 8 minutes. And we just got out with our lives. So we lost literally everything at that point. And I had 86 cents in my bank account. 8 minutes after the fire, I was checking my bank account and I knew I had 86 cents. So at that point, we had no insurance to cover anything. It was in the middle of winter, so Red Cross was already overrun. So it wasn't like we could get emergency hotel things or anything like that. It was just a slap in the face that we had to learn how to, okay, I couldn't go to the homeless shelter because my son was 15. But he was like 5'10" with a beard, and they wanted to put him by himself on the men's side. So I couldn't let that happen. So I couldn't even stay at homeless shelters unless they separated my family, you know. And where everybody wanted to stay, it was like I had 3 tweens. There was no way we could stay with somebody. You know, people were like, "Oh, you can stay with us," but when you're dealing with teenagers, no, we can't just stay anywhere. Yeah. Because once we stay, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know when I'm going to get money in. I don't know how the system's going to work. And we literally squatted in a house. We went and somebody said, hey, I still got the keys to a house they foreclosed on. You want it? And I was like, yeah. And we squatted in that house for almost a whole year. Wow. So I could get my life together. And the kids, we just bear down. We as single parents are never told we are family. And you want to know how important that word is? They give it to the mob. So in a mob, you respect the head of the house, you respect the family, and when you go out, you do whatever it takes to protect the family. But we are called single parent units or single parent households. They strip family from us. And so we have to
that. You're
work
right.
every day to show our kids, I am head of the house. When you go out, you have to respect me, whether I'm around or not. And you have to do whatever it takes to protect this family. They break us up before we even come together. Because as soon as you announce you're pregnant, you have to put on that form, I am a single parent household. Whereas everybody else get 2 family household, 3 family household. You get everything else except single parent house. Like, really? I'm a single parent household. You
so
take that
Sylvia,
word away.
Let me ask you this. Are you a single mother by choice?
Yeah, I chose to have her. I would say the first and second were, the first, second, and third, they were all not by choice. They were surprised. My mom likes to call them gifts. I was
Okay.
given gifts that I had to take care of.
Okay. Can you help our listeners out there understand what it means to be a single parent? Because I know sometimes people say, oh, I'm a single parent, but they actually have support from the children's father. So what does it really mean to be a single parent in your case?
A single parent in my case is getting absolutely no aid from anywhere else except the check that you bring in every 2 weeks.
Pointing that out because that is an age-long debate, single mother, single parent, because the debate is that single parent, whether the father is assisting or not, that you're not, I mean, I'm just saying what the debate is, that you're not a single parent because the child does have another parent, that you are a single mother. So I know that everybody looks at it differently, you know.
I would say a single parent would be more or less you are getting assistance from somewhere. A single mom is a person who is using her monthly income from a 2-week job or for anywhere she is and doing what she can for her family. I couldn't even get assistance from the state because they said I made $20 too much. I couldn't get food stamps. I got WIC maybe until they were 3 years old. And about after that, I did Focus Hope until they were 5. And other than that, it was just what I did. I went and got health insurance. I got a job. I got a job that helped me be a mom. Even though I had a degree in something else, I had to make that sacrifice. I knew that I needed to be taken off of days of work. I knew I needed comp time. I needed sick time. I needed any time I needed to be with my kids. So I had to sacrifice and make sure I had a job I could do that at, but also be able to save money up, but to afford our monthly expenses. And pretty much basic, I was just by myself. Other than, my sisters would come over and maybe take the kids, or my dad would sometimes come and, go somewhere and be a dad with them. So that was kind of cool. But other than that, I was 24/7 parent for 20 years.
So speaking of time, what tips do you have out there for single parents that may be struggling with time management?
So the number one thing I always suggest is go to Home Depot and get a big chalkboard and put it on your wall. This way, number one side of the board is budget, the other side is a schedule. And this budget and schedule, I don't care how old they are or how young they are, they understand, number one, this is how much money is coming into this house. Everything you do affects this amount of money that comes in this house. You ain't getting allowance. I'm not paying you to be my kid. But everything you do helps with this budget. That means if you do chores, you are helping me make more money because then I can go in my office and work. If you do things for the household, you are helping me become a better household parent so then I can get stuff done. So they understood the budget works. And I think a lot of us as parents, we don't include our kids in that. And it's very important because we can cry about all we want to. When Christmas time come around, I cannot afford $500. $500 got to go to DTE. So you ain't going to get Christmas until I get my tax return in May. So you better be okay with that. You better turn on the light and say Merry Christmas because, yes, thank you, Santa, for putting that light on. But they understood that this is the budget, this is what I have, and this is what we're working with. I'm not keeping any money from you. The other side was time management, where I kept up with everybody's schedule and everybody kept up with my schedule. And then it was the schedule for the house because everybody was responsible. We need to stop taking things on ourselves so much and let these kids understand this house is their house and how it's run is how you allow it to run. So I always say, parent your kids, your household, and yourself. Run your family, run your household, run yourself like a business. Everything is in and out. It's an asset and a liability in your family, in your household, and in yourself. And you need to make sure every day you are doing this in order for time and money to equal out at the end of every month.
Yeah, very, very powerful. Very
Amen.
powerful.
I feel like I'm in church, y'all.
And very practical.
I know.
It's practical. If parents out there can do that.
It helps because you are not wasting your breath every day saying, look how much money you wasted. Look how much time you wasted. And then you see as yourself what you can do better in the household. And next month, okay, we need to make sure this gets done. We need to make sure, okay, we can put a little money aside for this. Okay, this is what's broken in the house. This is what needs to be done in the house. So everybody is part of the solution. If you know how to fix it, it's not up to just me. And it really frustrates me when I see single parents and they're like, they got grown kids. And anytime you can reach above a washing machine and turn a knob, you're grown. You're grown. And you can do almost every chore in that house. So there's no excuse why I have to go and wash everybody's clothes. No, I don't work 8 hours to provide for you. What have you done to deserve the money I brought home?
Okay, so let me ask you this, Sylvia, because I know it's hard times for everybody. Everybody is stressed, and you know, some people may feel anxiety. And you know, as a single mother, I'm not saying that I'm single, but what I'm basically saying is, you know, some single mothers out there may feel like, I get lonely. You know, sometimes I get lonely
sometimes.
Right, that song did come in my head, like, and you know, they want some companionship, and you know, what advice do you have for the single parent out there that may want some companionship? Especially, do they bring, you know, people to their house where their kids stay?
Don't. Number one, I would say my dad taught me a lot of things. He was actually a single parent in the 80s before it was even popular for a man to be a single parent. So that was kind of weird because, you know, he took me bra shopping. He went and got my sanitary pads. So I have no problem asking a man to go get him, because if my daddy get him, you can get him.
Right, exactly.
But he taught me that one thing that you always need, no matter what, and he said, you can be as woman, as independent and smart, all you want, but you do need an alpha male. That alpha male can be your brother, it can be a really good friend, or it can be your father. But you do need at least one alpha male in your life to keep the crazies away. Number one, they keep the crazies away. Number two, they show other guys how to respect you, because people be like, oh, well, I'll just teach a guy how to respect me. You can't teach a man really how to respect you until he sees you how other men treat you. Number two, if you are a single parent and you know your life ain't right, you need to get your house in order, you want to get your education, you want to up your stuff in your job, so all your time is really going to be for your kids, for your household, and for you. Don't be trying to seriously date and find a man. That's not fair to him, and it's not fair to you and your kids, because you promised them 18 years. And I'm sorry that you did do this out of wedlock, but you did promise them 18 years of your life, and you got to give it to them. You got to give it to them. And unless this guy comes in and says, okay, I know I got to take a back seat, and he's fine with it, then fine. But at no point should you put him above them once they are in your life. Absolutely. And I'm not saying making your son king of the castle. Nope, nobody king, nobody sitting in my throne except me. I'm sorry, unless we married. But you still have to give them those 18 years. So go out on dates. Go enjoy dating, because remember, you had kids at a young age, so you didn't even get that experience of dating, of just going out and having fun with a guy. Just date, food dates, CVS dates, fair dates. Just go out on dates and be okay with it. If he's not okay with it, then say, okay, fine. I got kids. It's
And
no
it's good
problem.
that you point that out. It's very good that you point that out. It's so important. And I think that, you know, women really have to understand, or people, period, about building friendships, building relationships. Because,
Right.
you know, dating is what it is. You're dating, and then when you're done dating, then you're done, and then you're on.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, you know, just the relationship aspect is very important. So I'm glad you pointed.
And actually, I did not allow them to meet my kids, and you had to have been you had to pass the 6-month mark. 6 months,
That's
because
important.
I don't know if I'm gonna keep you around anyway. 6 months mean I might keep you.
Right.
Up
So
until
Yeah.
then,
I'm just curious what a CVS date look like.
girl, you never went to a guy with CVS and he just started buying you anything. You never went to CVS by yourself and be like, "Ooh, I would love to buy that. Ooh, I wish I just want that because I just want that." And then a guy take you to CVS and he be like, "Buy what you want." Boy, whatever. So,
I love it.
I wanted this electric lint remover forever. Oh, Jesus, thank you, Lord, for sending me
Oh,
this lint
my.
remover.
They do come in handy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mhm.
I'm just saying, just go out on those silly dates you wanted to go out on when you was a teenager or when you was 20 and 30 years old that
Yes,
you didn't
live a
get a
little.
chance to live a little and
Yes.
have fun doing it.
And
Really
have
have fun doing
fun.
it.
Yes. Say
Right.
that again. Have fun.
You grown,
Yes.
and my mama said, you do whatever you want to out in that world, long as it don't get back to her. So
Yeah.
that's all I tell people. You do whatever you want to, long as it don't get back to your mama or your kids. Girl, go ahead.
And you got to be careful nowadays because of social media. So you got to be
Thank
extra
you.
careful.
Thank you. Can be extra careful,
Yes.
but that's the only rule I tell people to stick to. Long as it don't get back to your mama and your kids, hey, go for it. But you
So as a
grown,
single mother, I see that, you write books. Talk
right?
to us about that.
So I actually have always been a writer. According to my mom, I used to lie to her like a whole bunch when I was 6 or 7. So she would give me a butt whooping and then go make me write my lie down. And then
Mm.
I have to come back to her and read the lie I had told her. And then she'd give me
Mm.
another butt whooping because this is where humanity starts, is that we don't get hurt by the lie. We get hurt by the amount of deceit of the lie. I learned
Hmm.
storytelling and I learned not to lie to people. So that's probably why I
Putting
don't
a
have a lot of friends.
positive twist on it. Yes.
Yeah. So I always would love to write stories and everything.
Hmm.
And I just got to the point of I really wanted to be a writer, but I really didn't have faith in myself. And once I
Mm.
had my daughter, and even holding her that first moment, I knew I still wanted to be a writer. I knew I had to put a lot of work in. I realized holding my daughter the first time and looking at her face, I knew I wanted to be a mom, but I also wanted to be a writer. But then I didn't want to look down at her and say, I'm not a writer, because that would be hypocritical. I'm not following my dreams and passions as I'm raising her. And I really wanted to stress that to my kids, because kids know when you're not happy. Kids know when you're not doing what you really want to be doing. I don't care how
Hmm.
much you try to hide it or how much you say, it's okay. It's never okay when you're not doing what God has put in you.
Mm.
So I wanted to be able to show my kids how to follow their dreams, how to be happy, how to be successful, and still be able to be an adult.
And I want to touch back on that. You said something, it's so important. You know, God, the gifts that he gives us, they're not yours to keep. You have to share those gifts.
You do have to share
You
those.
point that out. Yes, share your gifts.
I did, and that's what I did. Is that, like, once I
Mhm.
became a published author in 2000, and it was kind of like the 2000 scare of the Y2K, the world coming to the end. I was like, before the world comes to the end, at least I want to
Mhm.
publish a book. So I published my first book in 2000, but a lot of people weren't giving me the education that I needed. And that's when I was like I had my child in 2001. And then I still was depressed because I was like, I needed to sell books. And unfortunately, the government said you have to feed your kids. and I couldn't pay for my dream. So I was like, pay for the dream or feed the kids, go to jail.
So let me ask you a question, because apparently you really love writing, and
yes, I love it.
It's evident. So tell us about, and I'm sorry if I'm taking it in a different.
That's all right.
I want to know, what was one of the books that you had the most fun writing? What was one of your most your works of art that you are the most proud of?
Well, actually,
let us know, because I want to read it.
Well, the most fun, and I hope only grown people listening to this.
Hello, come on, let's talk.
So the most fun I had with the book was after I had written this psychological thriller, and it was about a serial killer. So whenever I write a really horrible book, I try to write a light book to kind of lighten the mood. Well, to lighten the mood, I decided to write it's called Stealing Innocence. And it was basically about me raping a man, and how would he take it in the 21st century, you know? Would he go to the police? Would people believe him? Would, society look down on him? Like, I've been raped. Like, a man never has said that before, or really pressed the issue about it. So I really actually wrote a book about that. And he was a really horrible man to begin with. He was a really terrible person to begin with. But that still didn't equate to what happened to him. And instead, he decided to get revenge against the woman who did it. What I did was, and what I do is I take story settings and then do it in another way in another book. So Stealing Innocence 2 is the same premise, but set up differently. And then it's a Stealing Innocence 3 with the same premise, but set up differently. So each book is like a standalone, but it has the same kind of premise in it. So it's kind of
where can we find your books?
You can find mostly all my books on Amazon.com. You can always go there, Barnes and Nobles, anywhere where books are sold, ebooks and paperback books. And actually right now I have over 50 books available. So yeah, I'm a writing fool.
Have you ever thought about bringing your books to life?
Well, I did actually. I did back in, was that 2000, and I want to say 2011, we did a play with one of my books called Sweet Justice. And that was fun, bringing it to life and seeing, it's weird seeing other people say the words that you wrote. That is the weirdest thing. And then hearing the audience react to it, that was even more weird. Like, oh my God, they like what I wrote.
Oh, cool. Yes.
So that was fun. It was a fun endeavor. I've been approached by like independent movie companies, but it's my babies. It's kind of like sending your children off to a school and you're like, oh, I don't like that school.
Got it. I get it.
So I'm so protective about all my, my written babies. I'm just, I don't know. Maybe.
And I don't know if I'm behind the time, but you were working on a live blog in the midst of writing a book or something. I
actually do. I actually while I'm writing one book, I'm actually writing another book live on my blog. So readers get to come in like a soap opera every week and see a new part of the story written.
That's nice.
So yeah, right now I think we're doing He Touched Me, and it's about a girl who got inappropriately touched in public, kind of liked it, and now she want to find the guy who did it. So
wow,
and I'm kind of weird.
Snip.
I'm kind of weird.
Let our listeners know your social media website.
So available on Facebook at Sylvia Hubbard. You can just Facebook, Sylvia Hubbard, you'll pull up like my page, my group, and my profile. So yeah, just type in Sylvia Hubbard. And then I'm on Twitter as Sylvia Hubbard 1, Instagram Sylvia Hubbard 1, YouTube as Sylvia Hubbard 1. Everywhere else is Sylvia Hubbard 1 is my username. So yeah, you can find me almost anywhere. I usually say Google me. You'll find me. And of course you can visit my website at sylviahubbard.com and see like a list of all my books plus books that are to come. as well. And it's a joy to really do it because like my kids have always been helping me with my business. You know, they set up my tables when we go out. You know, when it was time, and actually I did teach them sign language when they were babies, so they wouldn't cry while I wrote. So they would have to make a sign if they wanted the bottle, and they would pat their crotch if they wanted their diaper changed. Because I can't do crying. I can't stand crying.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, and then once they got like older, if they wanted my attention while I was writing, they could come and stand by me while I was typing, but they couldn't talk until I gave them eye contact. And I would train them not to say anything until I gave them eye contact. And then that will happen in real life events, because when I'm out there being social and everything, I prepared them for it. Because when we're out and you know how you're having a discussion, say, you know, me and you, April, are talking and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then my child comes up beside me. Don't you hate when they be like, mama, 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 mama?
Ma, pat you, ma.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And see, that's what Miss April's always taking up for my son, but that's what he does. Ma, I'm ready to go. Like, and she always takes up for him. Hello.
Right. But what I train them to do is until I give you eye contact, you wait. Because unless somebody is dying, it's not that important. If they dead,
Yes.
they can wait till I finish. That's basically the rule. That's basically the rule. Another rule I also instilled for just my sanity's sake, because if you have two or more children, you know, when you come home from work, like, you got to be prepared. You got to change over to being a household person, a mom. You got to get ready for tomorrow. You got to do, you know, you got a lot of things coming. So one thing I did do is I instilled a 1 hour. So when I come home from work or when I come in the door, you give me 1 hour to get my mind back into mommy mode, so then I can help you out.
So
But
do
it
you
was-
have any final thoughts for our single parents out there? Any words of inspiration?
You can do it. Like I said in the beginning, you are never given any struggle that God has not already prepared you for to succeed.